I'm Nathan and welcome to Stories with a Twang. Today's episode is called My Wife and I Recently Became Parents. There's Something Off About Our Baby by Horror Junkie 123.
I don't think I can do this.
My wife grunted through clenched teeth. You've got this, I said, squeezing her hand. Just push and... She heaved, obliterating my fingers in her vice grip. Ow, I mean, you're doing great, Luna. I think I can see him crowning. After one final exertion, Luna collapsed, her labored breaths heavy and fatigued.
Did I?
You did it, honey. I'm so proud of you, I said, grinning from ear to ear at my sweat-soaked wife. That smile quickly faded when the doctor's words met my ears. Oh my God. My heart began to beat a mile a minute. I slowly shuffled toward the edge of the bed, my elation devolving into a growing sense of dread. What I saw still sends shivers down my spine to this day. The doctor had my son cradled in his grasp. The baby was deathly silent. He didn't utter so much as a whimper. Babies are supposed to cry when they're born, right? But what chilled me to the core wasn't the newborn's silence. It was his skin. My son, still soaked in blood, was dark purple, like his tiny body had been crushed under a hydraulic press. And those eyes, those predatory, hungry orbs glowed a sickly yellow. Luna gazed wide-eyed at our child. Her face went ghostly white and she stifled a scream.
What's wrong with him?
She choked out.
I don't know. I've never seen anything like it. We're going to have to get him to the NICU right away.
The doctor rushed out of the room with my baby firmly gripped in his arms. My veins turned to ice as the child's cold, unwavering stare bore into my chest.
Zane, I'm scared. What if they can't save him?
Luna sobbed, fat tears staining her hospital gown. I brushed a stray hair from her forehead and locked eyes with her. Everything is going to be okay. Jack is going to be okay. She sniffled, her ocean blue irises shimmering with hope.
I like that name. Jack it is.
We waited on pins and needles for word from the medical staff. I thought I caught one of the nurses glaring at Luna a couple of times as she rushed past. She didn't seriously think that my wife had something to do with Jack's appearance, did she? We waited in that drab, strange-smelling room for what felt like an eternity. I must have nodded off at some point because I was jolted awake by Luna relentlessly patting my arm.
Zane, wake up.
What? I was just resting my eyes.
Whatever, the doctor's here.
I immediately straightened up in my chair, a simultaneous mixture of apprehension and excitement bubbling within me. The doctor scowled at me before turning to my wife.
The baby's gonna be okay.
Luna and I breathed a collective sigh of relief. Hearing those words felt like an anvil was lifted off my chest.
Oh, thank goodness. You don't know how happy it makes me to hear that.
Luna said, grinning harder than the Cheshire cat. Don't get me wrong, I was elated, but all the while something gnawed at me, a vile, disgusting feeling that I couldn't put my finger on. What was wrong with him? I mean, why did he look like that? I asked, sensing the tension in the room returning. It was heavy, oppressive, and I didn't like it one bit. The doctor looked me directly in the eyes. His tone was light, but I could make out something else swimming just beneath his features. Fear.
Honestly, we don't know. He looks normal. His complexion returned to its original pigmentation a few minutes after he arrived in the NICU. I don't know what to make of it.
That's great news, isn't it, Zane? I was so worried. Does that mean we can leave today?
I felt a smile tugging at the corners of my lips. Luna's enthusiasm was contagious.
Well, with your permission, we'd like to monitor the baby's health for about a week or so, just to be certain that his condition is stable. As for you, we'd recommend staying at least 2 more days before being discharged.
Oh, I guess that's okay. Jack's health is our main concern, right, honey?
Right, I said, rubbing the back of my neck.
I'll have the nurse prepare to discharge you in a couple of days. For now, just get some rest.
Luna slumped down into her bed as the doctor directed his attention to me.
Mr. Fowler, can I have a word with you?
I nodded, following him into the hall. Once we were out of Luna's earshot, the doctor's expression shifted to one of stern trepidation.
Look, there's no professional way to put this, so I'm just going to come out and say it. I think something is very wrong with your son, Mr. Fowler. And I'm not talking about his health. I know you've seen the way he looks at people, how he stares through them.
He shuddered at the mere mention of it. A chill crawled up my own spine at the thought.
I don't know if it's even legal for me to recommend this, but I highly suggest getting in contact with a priest. There's something not right about that boy.
I mulled over his words. My heart dropped. My intuition was right. It seemed like there really was something wrong with Jack. All I could do was nod in response. I returned to Luna as if nothing had happened.
What did the doctor say?
Nothing really. He just had a few questions about our billing information. She pursed her lips, pondering my statement. She seemed skeptical, but she didn't call my bluff. I sank into the chair beside my wife's bed and prepared for an exhausting week. A handful of agonizing days later, we returned to the hospital to welcome our little bundle of joy into our home. He was fast asleep when the nurse handed him to Luna.
He's been sleeping a lot, but that's normal for newborns. Best of luck to you both,
the nurse whispered, smiling warmly at my wife. My heart swelled looking at the baby nestled in Luna's arms, his rosy cherub cheeks, blonde wispy curls, and the soft coos that escaped his lips when he exhaled all worked to activate a proud, protective instinct from deep within me. I finally understood what parents meant by their pride and joy. Thank you, we really do appreciate all your help, I said. I was met with a cold stare as the nurse returned to her station. Okay, let's get out of here. I'm itching to get Jack home. We strapped Jack into his new car seat and we were off. The hospital was only about a 20-minute drive from our home. It should have been a smooth ride. About 10 minutes in, I glanced in the rearview mirror. I was met with a pair of yellow radiating eyes glaring back at me. I was entranced by them. My mind immediately shot back to the day Jack was born. That unfaltering, icy glare exuded an aura of pure malice. My heart thumped like a jackhammer in my chest and sweat began to pool above my brow. I didn't know it was possible for a baby to instill such a strong feeling of dread.
Zane, the road!
I was snapped back to reality by Luna's terrified shriek. I swerved just in time, narrowly avoiding a collision with the semi-truck in the opposite lane.
What is going on with you? You nearly got us killed. Do you need me to drive?
Sorry, feeling kind of lightheaded. You know, nerves and stuff. I think I'm gonna take you up on that offer, actually. Luna took the wheel for the remainder of the drive, while I cowered in the passenger seat, desperate to escape Jack's insidious gaze. I should have taken the doctor's words more seriously. There really was something wrong with my son. Once we arrived home, Luna carried Jack inside while I dipped into our bedroom to gather my thoughts. I wasn't really being coerced by a baby, was I? Surely not. With my pride in check, I returned to my family. I gazed lovingly at the pair as my wife cooed over our unresponsive child. Luna seemed to be enjoying Jack's first day home, so I didn't want to spoil the fun by bringing up his cryptic behavior. But as it turned out, I wouldn't have to. Luna and I slumped into bed. We'd just tucked Jack into his crib and we were beat. Though Jack hadn't uttered a peep, the mental strain was already beginning to take a toll. I activated the baby cam that I'd synchronized with my phone as Luna flipped through Netflix series on the TV. She landed on some cheesy rom-com. Gross. Just what I want to see after a long, taxing day. We sat in silence, reflecting on the events of the evening until Luna turned down the volume and faced me. Tears threatened to spill down her cheeks and her bottom lip began to quiver.
Zane, what's wrong with our baby?
What do you mean?
Aren't babies supposed to make noise and giggle and grab things? I haven't seen Jack move a single muscle. What if he can't move? What if he's suffering? I'm so scared.
My heart shattered seeing her like that. Luna had had baby fever since the moment we tied the knot, and now that she finally had one, he was completely lethargic. Hey, look at me. Everything is gonna be okay. I'm sure he's just getting his bearings after being trapped in here for 9 months. I playfully lifted Luna's shirt and blew a wet raspberry into her belly. She couldn't help but laugh. Her boisterous giggles mended my spirits. If we still don't have a breakthrough in a week or so, we can take him to a specialist. Sound good? She timidly nodded, scooting close to me and nestling her head into my chest.
I'm so glad I have you to help me through this. You're going to be a great father. I love you, Zane.
And you're gonna be an incredible mom. I love you too, Luna. My eyes creaked open to a barrage of notifications. I snatched up my phone, rushing to silence it before it woke Luna. My heart dropped. All of the notifications were from the baby cam, and they all said the same thing. Motion detected. Dread crashed over me like a tidal wave. Jack hadn't moved all day, so what was setting off the camera? I furiously punched in my passcode and opened the app connected to the camera. What I saw still gives me goosebumps. Once the app loaded, I was met with Jack's stoic face. I was so startled that I nearly dropped my phone. He was standing in his crib, dementedly glowering at the camera. That shouldn't be possible. He shouldn't have hit that milestone for at least another 9 months. I could feel Jack's depraved frown burning into my psyche. Those luminescent yellow eyes locked with mine. It was like he could see me watching him. I reluctantly slipped from bed, though every synapse in my brain screamed at me not to. I needed to go check it out. I slowly crept across the hall to Jack's room. I pushed the door open, trying my best to avoid alerting him to my presence. My efforts were fruitless. Jack's eyes landed on me the moment I entered the room. His hateful glare sent a shiver rippling through my body. He raised a chubby arm and pointed directly toward the door. I hated to admit it, but at that moment, I was terrified of my own son. Fear coursed through my veins like venom. My eyes grew wide as I backed out of the room, because just for a second, I swear I could see a flash of red dance across Jack's pupils. I was trembling when I returned to bed. What the hell was that? Without a word, my week-old infant had commanded me to go back to my room, and I was powerless to resist. I somehow managed to fall into a fitful slumber not too long afterward. It all felt like some kind of wild fever dream. I really wish that was the case. I awoke the next day to an empty bed. Luna always did enjoy mornings. Me, not so much. I groggily rubbed my eyes as I slunk to the kitchen.
Good morning, sleepyhead.
Luna giggled. Morning.
What's wrong, honey? You look like you got hit by a train.
Gee, thanks. I didn't sleep well. It's nothing. Jack still sleeping?
Like a rock.
Good. I think I'm gonna head to the store. We're running low on milk.
Oh, I guess we are. Just make sure to come back,
she said, shooting me a wink. Don't worry, you're stuck with me. But you already knew that, I said, planting a kiss on her cheek. I threw on my flip-flops and headed out. I exhaled sharply as I sank into the driver's seat. The milk was just an excuse. Truth be told, I just wanted a few minutes away from Jack. I was still processing the events from the night prior. I mean, anyone would need to step away after that, right? I was scanning expiration dates on the half-gallons of 2% when I felt it. A sudden, overwhelming sense of doom stabbed me like a knife to the gut. I couldn't explain it. Hell, I still can't. But whatever it was, it told me that something sinister was going on. I needed to get home, and fast. I bolted out of the store like a man possessed. I could feel dozens of prying eyes following me as I sprinted through the automatic doors. I never should have left them alone. I slammed the car into drive and floored it, flying down the streets at an alarming speed. I whipped into the driveway and threw the car into park. My heart threatened to leap from my chest as I burst through the door, desperate just to hear my wife's voice. Luna! Luna, where are you? Silence. I darted into the kitchen and froze. Jack was sitting in his high chair, but he wasn't scowling at me like he normally would. No, for the first time since he was born, Jack was smiling, and that scared me even more. I tentatively approached him. The smirk pasted on his round face filled me with horror, and then I noticed it. Jack was gnawing on something. It took way more effort than I'd like to admit, but eventually I was able to pry the mystery object from his iron grip. When I laid eyes on it, I painted the linoleum with the previous night's dinner, because the object that my baby had been sucking on was a severed human finger. Alright everyone, I hope you all enjoyed this week's story. I would like to give a giant thank you to this week's talented author, Horror Junkie 123. I would also like to give a giant thank you to Elizabeth is Afraid for coming onto the podcast and playing Luna. If you enjoyed their work on this episode, you can find them on Instagram at ElizabethIsAfraid. If you have any stories you would like me to read on the show, you can send them over to storieswithatwang@gmail.com. The show is on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Stories with a Twang Podcast. It would mean an awful lot if you could rate and review the show wherever you listen, and don't forget to share with your friends and family as well. It could really help the show grow. I hope you all have a wonderful week, and until next time, remember that a little twang goes a long way.